I'm going to tell you something that will make you question everyone in your life right now. The people who get offended when you start focusing on your goals, who complain when you're not available for every social gathering, who make you feel guilty for working on your dreams instead of hanging out with them, these people are not supporting your success, they're preventing it. They've built their social lives around your availability, their entertainment around your participation, their sense of normalcy around your willingness to stay average with them. When you start to change, when you start to focus, when you start to disappear into your work, it threatens their comfortable world where everyone stays exactly the same. So they'll try to pull you back down. They'll use guilt, shame, and social pressure to convince you that your dreams aren't as important as their need for your company. And most people give in because they'd rather be popular with people going nowhere than be alone with people going somewhere. Let me tell you something about the people who make it in this world. They have one thing in common that sets them apart from everybody else. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not who they know or where they came from, it's focus. But not just any kind of focus. I'm talking about the kind of focus that's so intense, so complete, that people start to wonder where you went. You see, when someone gets serious about their dreams, really serious, something fascinating happens. They start to disappear. Not physically, but from all the activities that used to fill their time. They stop showing up to every party. They stop hanging around the water cooler for an hour talking about last night's game. They stop being available for every phone call, every text message, every social gathering that comes along. And you know what happens next? People start talking. What happened to John? We never see him anymore. Mary used to be so social. Now she's always busy with something. I invited him 3 times and he said no every time. I think success is going to his head. Here's what I want you to understand. When people think you've disappeared, that's when you know you're on the right track. Because success requires seasons. There are seasons for planning and seasons for harvesting. There are seasons for socializing and seasons for focusing. Most people never learn this. They try to do everything all the time, and they end up accomplishing nothing that really matters. The successful person understands that if you want to be found by success, you must first be lost to distraction. You must become so absorbed in your craft, so committed to your goals, that the world of casual entertainment and idle conversation simply fades away. Not because you don't care about people, but because you care more about becoming the person you were meant to be. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years, I was everybody's friend. I was available for every conversation, every invitation, every request for my time. And you know what I had to show for it? Not much. I was busy, but I wasn't productive. I was popular, but I wasn't successful. I was present everywhere, but I wasn't making progress anywhere. I remember one particular week that changed everything for me. I had attended 4 social gatherings, spent hours on phone calls that went nowhere, watched television every evening, and by Sunday night I sat there wondering what I had accomplished. The answer was nothing. Absolutely nothing. I had been active for 7 days straight, but I hadn't moved 1 inch closer to any goal that mattered to me. That's when I realized something profound. Being busy and being productive are not the same thing. Being social and being successful are not the same thing. Being available and being valuable are not the same thing. I was confusing motion with progress, activity with achievement, presence with purpose. You see, there's a difference between people who are always doing something and people who are always accomplishing something. The first group fills their calendar with activities. The second group fills their life with results. The first group is always busy but never really building anything. The second group might seem less active, but they're creating something significant. I started to study successful people more carefully. I watched how they spent their time, how they made decisions, how they prioritized their days. And I noticed something interesting. They weren't at every party. They weren't available for every phone call. They weren't watching every television show or reading every magazine or attending every meeting that came their way. Instead, they had this ability to disappear into their work. They would vanish for hours, sometimes days, working on projects that mattered to them. They understood something that took me years to learn. Your attention is your most precious resource, and wherever you invest it, that's where you'll see results. Then something changed. I started to see that my time was like money in the bank. Every hour I spent on something unimportant was an hour I couldn't spend on something that mattered. Every yes to a trivial activity was a no to my dreams. And slowly, I started to make different choices. Now, let me be clear about what real focus looks like, because most people have never experienced it. Real focus isn't just paying attention. Real focus is the ability to say no to 99 things so you can say yes to the one thing that will make all the difference. It's the discipline to shut out the good so you can pursue the great. Think about it this way. If you had a magnifying glass and you held it above a piece of paper in the sunlight, nothing happens. But if you hold that magnifying glass steady, focusing all those scattered rays of light into one tiny point, something remarkable occurs. The paper catches fire. The same sun that was harmless when scattered becomes powerful when focused. Your attention works the same way. When it's scattered across dozens of activities, dozens of goals, dozens of priorities, it's harmless. It might keep you warm, but it won't ignite anything. But when you focus that same attention, when you concentrate all your mental energy on one important goal, that's when the magic happens. That's when average people create extraordinary results. Most people never experience this because they're afraid of missing out. They're afraid that if they say no to one thing, they might miss the opportunity of a lifetime, so they say yes to everything and end up missing the real opportunity of a lifetime, which is the chance to become excellent at something that matters. I want you to understand something. The successful person is not the person who does more things. The successful person is the person who does fewer things better. They're not trying to be good at everything. They're trying to be great at something. They're not trying to be everywhere. They're trying to be somewhere important. When you're truly focused, you stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop saying yes to every social invitation. You stop watching 3 hours of television every night. You stop having 2-hour lunches that turn into 3-hour conversations about nothing important. Instead, you create sacred time, time that belongs to your future, not to other people's entertainment. This sacred time is different from regular time. It's protected time. It's time when you're not available for interruptions, not available for casual conversations, not available for activities that don't serve your highest priorities. This is the time when you disappear from the world to work on becoming who you're meant to be. I learned to think of focus as a muscle that gets stronger with use. The first time you try to focus for 2 hours straight, it's difficult. Your mind wants to wander. You want to check your phone, get a snack, talk to someone, do anything except the hard work in front of you. But if you persist, if you keep exercising that focus muscle, something amazing happens. You get stronger. You can focus for longer periods. You can go deeper into your work. You can achieve levels of concentration that most people never experience. And here's what's interesting. Once you develop this ability to focus intensely, once you learn to disappear into your work, you start to understand why so few people achieve their dreams. It's not because they don't have good ideas. It's not because they don't have talent. It's because they never learned to focus long enough to turn their ideas into reality. This kind of focus requires sacrifice. It requires you to disappoint some people. It requires you to miss some parties, skip some gatherings, and turn down some invitations. And here's what's interesting. The people who criticize you for this focus are usually the same people who will later ask you how you became so successful. You see, there are two kinds of pain in life. There's the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs about 2 pounds. The pain of regret weighs about 2 tons. When you choose to focus so intensely that people think you've disappeared, you're choosing the pain of discipline now so you don't have to carry the weight of regret later. Let me tell you about the seasons of life. In the spring, the farmer plants seeds. He doesn't throw parties during planting season. He doesn't take long vacations. He plants seeds. Why? Because he understands that if he doesn't plant in the spring, he can't harvest in the fall. The successful person understands this principle. There are seasons for planting your future and seasons for enjoying your harvest. Most people want to harvest every day. They want immediate gratification. They want to enjoy themselves now and somehow still reap rewards later. But life doesn't work that way. If you want an extraordinary harvest, you must be willing to have an extraordinary planting season. And during planting season, you're going to be too busy to attend every social function. The focused person learns to live in seasons. They know that if they focus intensely for a period of time, they'll create results that will give them freedom later. But the unfocused person tries to enjoy freedom now and wonders why they never create anything significant. Here's what happens when you truly focus. Time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. Instead of time flying by with nothing to show for it, every hour becomes an investment. Every day builds on the previous day. Every week compounds the work of the week before. This is how ordinary people create extraordinary results. But focus requires more than just intention. It requires structure. It requires you to design your environment and your schedule to support your priorities. You can't just hope to focus better. You have to create conditions that make focus inevitable. This means you need to control your environment. If you're trying to write a book, you don't sit in the living room with the television on. If you're building a business, you don't work from the kitchen table where everyone can interrupt you. You create a workspace that signals to your mind and to others that serious work is happening here. It means you need to control your schedule. You can't leave your most important work to chance. You can't hope to find time for what matters most. You have to schedule it first before anything else gets a claim on your time. The successful person doesn't find time for success. Let me tell you about the power of morning focus. I learned this from watching the most successful people I knew. They didn't wait until the afternoon to work on their dreams. They didn't hope to find energy at the end of a long day. They got up early. They claimed the first hours of the day for their most important work. Why? Because in the morning your mind is fresh, your willpower is strong. The world hasn't started making demands on your time yet. The phone isn't ringing, the emails haven't started flooding in. Your energy belongs to you, not to other people's emergencies. I started getting up at 5 in the morning to work on my goals. At first it was difficult. My body wanted more sleep. My mind made excuses. But after a few weeks, something remarkable happened. I was accomplishing more in those early morning hours than I used to accomplish in entire days. By the time most people were having their first cup of coffee, I had already invested 2 hours in my future. By the time they were checking their email and getting distracted by other people's priorities, I had already made significant progress on my own priorities. This is what I mean by controlling your schedule. You don't let your day happen to you. You make your day happen according to your vision. You protect your prime time for your prime goals. You use your best energy for your best work. And you need to be ruthless about this protection. When someone wants to schedule a meeting during your focus time, you say no. When someone wants to have a long conversation during your productive hours, you reschedule. When activities compete with your committed time, the activities lose. And it means you need to control your associations. This is perhaps the hardest part. You have to limit your time with people who don't understand your vision. Not because they're bad people, but because their lack of understanding can become your lack of focus. Their casualness can become your casualness. Their satisfaction with average can become your satisfaction with average. When you start making these changes, when you start disappearing from the social scene to work on your dreams, people will notice. And not all of them will understand. Some will think you're being antisocial. Some will think you're being selfish. Some will think you've lost your priorities. Here's what you need to understand. Their opinion is not your reality. Their comfort with average is not your acceptance of mediocrity. Their need for your presence at every gathering is not more important than your need to build your future. The focused person learns to be comfortable with other people's discomfort. They learn that not everyone will understand their choices, and that's okay. They learn that some people will be offended by their commitment to excellence, and that's their problem, not yours. But here's what else happens when you focus so intensely that people think you've disappeared. You start to discover capabilities you never knew you had. When you're not distracted by constant social interaction, when you're not fragmenting your attention across dozens of trivial activities, something magical happens. Your mind settles into a deeper level of thinking. Your creativity expands. Your problem-solving abilities grow. You start to see connections you never saw before. You start to have insights that only come to the focused mind. You start to develop skills at a rate that surprises even you. This is what happens when you stop dabbling and start dedicating yourself completely to something that matters. The compound effect of this focused effort is remarkable. While everyone else is making small improvements in many areas, you're making dramatic improvements in the areas that matter most. While they're spreading their energy thin across dozens of activities, you're concentrating your energy like a laser beam on the few things that will transform your life. After months of this kind of focus, after seasons of what others call disappearing, you start to reappear. But when you come back, you're different. You've accomplished things. You've built something. You've created value. You've developed skills. You've solved problems. You've made progress. And here's the beautiful irony. The same people who criticize you for disappearing are now asking you how you did it. The same people who thought you were being antisocial now want to know your secret. The same people who didn't understand your focus now wish they had your results. This is when you realize that the disappearance was temporary, but the results are permanent. The sacrifice was for a season, but the benefits last a lifetime. The loneliness of focus was real, but the satisfaction of achievement is even more real. Let me tell you what compound focus looks like in real life. I once knew a man who decided to focus on learning one new skill every year. Not 10 skills, not trying to become good at everything. One skill, 1 year, complete focus. The first year, he learned public speaking. He practiced every day. He joined speaking clubs. He studied great speakers. He said no to activities that didn't help him become a better speaker. By the end of that year, he was getting paid to speak. The second year, he focused on writing. Same approach. Daily practice, complete commitment. By the end of that year, he was publishing articles and getting paid for his writing. The third year, he focused on sales. You can guess what happened. After 10 years of this approach, this man had become exceptional at 10 different skills. But here's what's interesting. He wasn't just good at 10 things. Because he had learned to focus completely, because he had developed the discipline of intensive concentration, he could learn anything faster than most people. He had become a master of mastery itself. This is what happens when you understand the compound effect of focus. Each period of intense concentration doesn't just give you results in that area, it also develops your ability to focus, which makes you more successful in every area you choose to pursue. Compare this to the person who tries to improve 10 things at once. They make small improvements in many areas, but never become truly excellent at anything. They stay average in everything because they never focus completely on anything. The focused person understands something profound. Excellence in one area creates opportunities in all areas. When you become known for being exceptional at something, people want to work with you, learn from you, partner with you. Your reputation for focus and excellence opens doors that scattered effort never could. I want you to think about this carefully. When you hear about someone who achieved something remarkable, when you read about someone who built something significant, when you learn about someone who made a real difference, what do you notice? They didn't try to do everything. They found one thing, maybe two things that they cared about deeply, and they focused on those things with an intensity that most people never experience. The writer who produces great books doesn't also try to be a great musician, a great athlete, and a great chef all at the same time. The entrepreneur who builds a successful business doesn't scatter their attention across dozens of different ventures. The artist who creates meaningful work doesn't divide their creative energy among countless different mediums. They understand that greatness requires sacrifice. It requires you to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It requires you to disappoint some people so you can serve your highest calling. It requires you to focus so completely on what matters most that everything else fades into the background. This is why focused people seem to disappear. They're not trying to impress everyone. They're not trying to be involved in everything. They're not trying to maintain relationships that don't serve their mission. They're trying to become excellent at something that matters to them, and they understand that excellence requires undivided attention. But let me warn you about something. Success has its own temptations. When you start achieving your goals, when people start recognizing your accomplishments, there's a temptation to become unfocused again. There's a temptation to say yes to every opportunity, every invitation, every request for your time. The truly successful person learns that focus is not a temporary strategy. It's a way of life. They learn to maintain their commitment to what matters most, even when they could afford to be casual. They understand that the habits that created their success are the same habits that will sustain their success. So this doesn't mean you become a hermit forever. Doesn't mean you never enjoy relationships or recreation. It means you learn to be intentional about how you spend your time. It means you learn the difference between rest and waste, between relationship and distraction, between celebration and indulgence. The focused life is not about working every minute of every day. It's about making sure that your work serves your vision, that your relationships support your growth, that your recreation refreshes you for more focused effort. Everything has a purpose. Nothing is accidental. Living this way requires you to think differently about time. Most people think they have unlimited time. They act as if there will always be tomorrow to start working on what matters. But the focused person understands that time is the most valuable resource they have. They treat it accordingly. They understand that every day is a choice between building their future or just getting through today. Every hour is a choice between investing in their dreams or spending on their impulses. Every minute is a choice between focus and distraction. When you really understand this, when you really grasp the value of your time, you start to make different decisions. You start to protect your time like you would protect your money. You start to invest your time like you would invest in your future, because that's exactly what you're doing. The person who has learned to focus, who has learned to disappear when necessary, who has learned to say no to the many so they can say yes to the few, this person has learned one of life's most valuable lessons. They have learned that success is not about being busy. Success is not about being popular. Success is not about being available to everyone all the time. Success is about being committed to what matters most, even when that commitment requires you to disappoint people who matter less. Success is about having the courage to be misunderstood for a season so you can be celebrated for a lifetime. Success is about focusing so hard on your goals that people think you've disappeared, only to reappear as the person you always knew you could become. So here's my challenge to you. Look at your life right now. Look at how you spend your time, how you invest your energy, how you direct your attention. Are you focused on what matters most, or are you trying to be everything to everyone? Are you building something significant, or are you just staying busy with activities that don't move you forward? If you want different results, you're going to have to make different choices. If you want an extraordinary life, you're going to have to be willing to live in an extraordinary way. And sometimes living in an extraordinary way means disappearing from the ordinary world for a while. Start today. Choose one thing that matters more than anything else in your life right now. One goal, one project, one dream that deserves your complete attention. Then start saying no to everything that doesn't serve that goal. Start creating time and space for focused work. Start building the habits that will compound into the results you want. But here's what I want you to understand about starting. You don't need permission from anyone to begin focusing on what matters to you. You don't need approval from your friends, agreement from your family, or understanding from your co-workers. You just need the courage to make different choices. When you start this process, when you begin to disappear from the social world to work on your personal world, some people will try to pull you back. They'll say you're taking life too seriously. They'll say you need to have more fun. They'll say you're missing out on living. Here's how you respond to that. You tell them that you're not missing out on living. You're preparing to live better. You're not taking life too seriously. You're taking your potential seriously. You're not missing out on fun. You're creating the foundation for a lifetime of satisfaction. The truth is, most people are afraid of what focused effort might reveal about them. They're afraid that if they really applied themselves, if they really concentrated on something important, they might discover they're capable of more than they ever imagined. And that discovery would make their current, casual approach to life impossible to maintain. So they stay comfortable with average. They stay satisfied with scattered effort. They stay content with being busy instead of being productive. And they try to convince you to stay there with them. Don't let them. Your dreams are too important. Your potential is too valuable. Your life is too short to spend it proving to other people that focus and discipline aren't necessary. I want you to make a decision right now. Decide that you're going to focus so hard on what matters most that people think you've disappeared. Decide that you're going to invest your time and energy so completely in your future that your present social calendar becomes empty. Decide that you're going to work so diligently on becoming who you're meant to be that people wonder where you went. And then, when you reappear, when you emerge from your season of focused effort with skills developed, goals achieved, and dreams realized, show them what disappearing can accomplish. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. The person you could become is waiting for you to focus long enough to find them. The life you could live is possible, but only if you're willing to disappear from the life you're living now. Don't worry about what people will think. Don't worry about missing out on activities that don't matter. Don't worry about being misunderstood. Worry about getting to the end of your life and realizing you never focused long enough or hard enough to see what you were truly capable of achieving. The world needs what you have to offer, but you'll never offer your best if you never focus long enough to develop it. So focus. Focus so hard that people think you've disappeared. And when you reappear, make sure you bring something valuable with you. Make sure you bring the best version of yourself. Make sure you bring proof that focus works, that discipline pays off, that disappearing for a season can transform your life forever. Your future is waiting for you, but it's not going to come to you. You have to go to it. And the only way to get there is through the kind of focus that makes people wonder where you went. So go, disappear, focus, and when you come back, bring your dreams with you.